Hey there, so in this video I wanted to discuss what will happen in episode 9. I know it's 2 years out, or should I say more, what's going to happen in the future for the Resistance. Well, as I touched in my previous video on Thursday, is that the Resistance it becomes the Rebellion again. They downright say it in Last Jedi, from the First Order calling the Resistance rebel scum, to even the Resistance themselves acknowledging themselves as the rebellion, as rebels. They even say they said their goal is to restore the Republic, and the Rebel Alliance was called the Alliance to Restore the Republic. So in this time between movies and up to the new episode 9, when it comes out in 2 years, what's going to happen in that time frame? How long is that time frame going to be? Well, I hope that time jump is a minimum of 1 year. No less than a year in jump. A full good galactic year. Now to give us some time that Leia doesn't have to die off right away between the 2 movies. Give some time that she can die off because she's going to be killed off. I think they probably were intending to actually kill her character in episode 9. I just, because how they killed, spoilers, Han Solo in the first movie, and then Luke that it became one with the Force in the Last Jedi. So, and I think they might have intended Leia to pass away in episode 9. I feel like that might have been the original intention. But one thing is, I want Leia not to die of combat, not to die for any reason. I want her to die of natural causes. And they specifically say so, because we rarely have a character die of natural causes in Star Wars. Probably the closest would be Padme, and she died of a broken heart. Actually, there was probably some force manipulation going on with life force and essence and all that, so that's debatable. But that's the closest thing we got to somebody dying of natural causes. Everyone else goes out fighting. I want a big character to die a natural death. Something we don't see at all in Star Wars, or if we do, it's super rare. Yeah, I know there's a few examples out there, legends and all that, but it's like one character that's not really important. It's not a common thing in Star Wars, and that's kind of why I want Leia to die of natural causes. They could even make it this, if they want to, the same cause of death as Carrie Fisher. I don't know if that's the best thing to do, but they could even do that, kind of a morbid homage. Don't know for sure, but I want it to be natural causes. No, the pressure of leading a new rebellion all by herself essentially gets to her. Kind of thing. A stress heart attack could happen. Can happen to her to the character. But that's kind of what I kind of thinking should happen. And then, of course, who's going to take over the new rebellion, as I'm going to be calling it essentially from now on? They'll probably still call themselves the Resistance in common terms, but I feel like they're going to draft a charter calling themselves the New or the Second Alliance to Restore the Republic. You may call us rebels, but we prefer Resistance. I just have that weird suspicion feeling type thing. But but we know Leia's going to die before episode 9, or at the very latest in this very opening of episode 9. They could even say how she died in the crawl, and the character, we see the characters acting according to her death. That would be a total change of pace from normal for a Star Wars movie, but kind of that most thing going on that. But who would lead the rebellion after Leia? Well, Vice Admiral Holdo has died. Admiral Akbar died very undramatically, but I feel like kind of weird, but that does kind of show something very important about what's going on. That the the First Order was basically beat down the resistance so hard that even the most veneered, the highest admiral, one a war hero, doesn't even get a proper noble death, just blown out in the vacuum of space. I do kind of think they could have taken out the Admiral Holder character and given essentially her entire role to Admiral Akbar, but I do not see Admiral Akbar actually keeping important information from Poe, the who's pretty much in charge of all the starfighter pilots. I really don't see him doing that, so having Admiral Holder is probably a good thing going on for that. But so yeah, no, obviously Akbar was the admiral in charge of the Resistance Navy, and I think Vice Admiral Holder was the second in command. You know, you have your admiral, then you have your second in command, and then each ship had its own captain. And because they put the admiral and vice admiral on different ships in order to reduce the chance of both of them dying. You see, and that way there'd be some at least somebody to take over if one of them dies, kind of thing. So say if Vice Admiral Holder's ship had gotten destroyed, I have a feeling they would have made sure that Admiral Akbar and Princess Leia were not on the same bridge. But kind of moving away from that, because that's more talking too much about The Last Jedi. I'm talking about what happens after. Is that I have a feeling that in the time between The Last Jedi and Episode 9, that Poe will get his rank back. Namely because, I think he's the highest ranking Resistance member besides Leia. Seriously, except for maybe Shiv, who's out in the Outer Rim regions of the galaxy. And you only know that if you played Star Wars Battlefront 2, the campaign, all the missions, including those that by The Last Jedi season DLC. So yeah. So I think also it'd be neat if Ida and those daughters they makes a leap to the film and we see her on screen in episode 9 kind of thing. This is how I see the it being that Poe will be the one in charge of the resistance. Like, cause who else is there? Han is dead, Leia will have died, Luke is dead, Admiral Akbar is dead, Vice Admiral Holder is dead. The only other person I can think of would be if Lando shows up or Nine Nub. Like for characters we know. Nobody else I can think of. Finn I don't think will do good in a leadership role. He'll be better at it, but I don't see him like leading the entire resistance. At least not yet. But I can see him being like a general in the resistance for all 100 of them by the Last Jedi by the time of episode 9. Sorry, that was kind of in poor taste, but no, they left the car with like 400, and by the time they were evacuated on the Millennium Falcon, there was like less than 50 of them. I would say at least 20, maybe around 25. And also, we only know 3 droids for sure: R2-D2, C-3PO, and BB-8. Resistance is in poor grasp. And so the leader will probably become Poe by the time of episode 9. But I feel like the ranks will expand by the time of episode 9. You'll get, and maybe even, I really am rambling here, but this is the type of video that is kind of for this. It's Star Wars Talk, we're supposed to talk about it. So, but yeah, I do kind of see Poe taking up leadership of the Resistance out of necessity. Now, I think if somebody like Lando comes into play, or even Wedge, Antilles, or Noah Rexley, I have a feeling Poe would yield his position of authority over the Resistance to them. And that brings in, I hope Wedge shows up in episode 9. Because we killed off pretty much all the other major characters. So, I'm hoping that also Lando shows up. I think he's a stronger case for showing up than Wedge. But I want one more character from the original trilogy to show up. in the sequel trilogy, and Lando and Wedge are the only two I can really think of. Really, because I don't think there's really any others unless they want to bring in I don't know. I can't even. All the named Imperials were killed off. So yeah, were killed off by the end of the Galactic Civil War. So yeah. So Reg or Lando are the only two. Lando I could see coming in and taking leadership of the Resistance, and he would do a good job at it. And I do hope he kind of does that. And Poe will be like the person in charge of the entire military, unless somebody like Wedge shows up. No, my theory, because we know that after the Battle of Jakku, Wedge was in charge of training new pilots. That so how long he did that for, I don't know. So I would say by the Force Awakens, he was nearing retirement age if he had not already retired, which would mean that he would still be out there now. I think he would be a priority target for the First Order because they know the Resistance would want him to help lead the fight against the First Order. So if Reg does show up in Episode 9, I kind of want there to be a comic that shows the First Order and the Rebel Alliance racing to obtain him, the First Order to capture him, and the Resistance to recruit him. That actually would make a neat comic if they do decide to go that route for that character. But because also it would be nice to see, and then of course there's also no Rexy. We know her son appears in The Force Awakens, and I believe he also appears in The Last Jedi, and we don't know if he survived, but because the actor who played him is J.J. Abrams' good luck charm, and since J.J. Abrams is now directing Episode 9, it is, I think, very likely for Snap Wexley to be in Episode 9. And that would be kind of nice to know somebody else familiar enough face, and bring in his mother as well. Because obviously she was developed, in the Aftermath books, Rexy developed feelings for Wedge, they, so, if, so it's very possible that if Wedge joins, she could join, providing one or both of them is still alive. If both of them are still alive. But I could see her joining anyhow to protect us, to help her son. That's just kind of what mothers tend to do. No, no matter how strong or independent they are, they will protect their children. Most of the time. Then there's Ray's parents. That's a whole video in itself, so when that comes out, be sure to watch it. You can subscribe to this channel and ring the bell to get notified for when that video and other Star Wars videos come out. And I also do have Star Trek if you're interested. But kind of continuing on what I think will happen for Episode 9. I really can't think of other things though. The lead up to Episode 9. I do hope the Chiss show up. Somebody clear to bring in heavy firepower to fight against the First Order. I just feel like the Chiss will view the First Order as a threat to them, and they would say, we need to fight the First Order. But then again, they would have to help the Resistance, they would have to fight through all of the First Order territory. Now, I think what would be actually super neat is if in the time jump between that the Resistance gets contacted by a Chiss agent who helps them get to the home world to hide out from the First Order as they go in strength. That actually would be cool. Have that just mentioned in the opening crawl of Episode 9. That would actually be a neat way to introduce the Chiss. Because I feel like the Chiss will consider the First Order a threat to the Chiss. I just don't know why. And if Grand Admiral Thrawn was still alive at this time, he would be very beneficial to fighting the First Order. So yeah, what else can I really talk about? There's actually so much when you think about it that could happen in the lead up to the Last Jedi. The time jump itself, it could be. I want it. It has to be, in my opinion, at least 1 year, as I said earlier. But it could be as long as 5 years. I don't think it's gonna be like 20 years. I would say no more than 10. That's pushing it. I would say for a long time, a reasonable long time jump would be 5 years. I think it would be nice if the time between films is actually the time jump 2 years, give or take a few days, hopefully in the direction of a bit longer time jump kind of thing, because it'll take a while. In fact, I want actually there to be a time jump in a way long enough so they can put a TV series like the Clone Wars in between, where the entire plot of the show is to rebuild the resistance. They can make it animated, uh, so that way they can have also aimed at the teenage audience kind of thing. Set maybe a few things up to lead to it, but I think that actually will make a very nice replacement for Rebels. We have actually no idea what they're planning, but like see, because Rebels talk about the building of the rebellion, there is. So wouldn't it be nice if we had between uh, The Last Jedi and 9 a series about the rebuilding of the Resistance? And that's how also you could kill off Leia somehow in that series, like as a sacrifice. And if you do animation, no problem. No, you won't have to complain about any weird-looking CGI, which I would think would be pretty nice. And it will help explain a lot. We could get a lot of development going on. Force Ghosts, we could see lots of Force Ghosts. Actually, that's, I think, what I want to happen. Couple years in between the episode, Last Jedi and Episode 9, so that way they can have a whole series dedicated to rebuilding the Resistance. Now, of course, I kind of would want this to come out after The Last Jedi airs. I mean, after Episode 9 airs in 2 years. So, that time between the time when episode, let's see, one of the Han Solo movies coming out in 2018, 2019. So they could take a year off, or they could do a one-shot animated series too. But yeah, so that might actually be it's a future video. But all that stuff I described, I want to see that in an animated television series, and only animate that way where we won't have any creepy-looking CGI characters. And so yeah. So thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. And as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you always.